please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Happy Tuesday morning. First on the agenda is to approve the minutes of Monday, August 28th, 2023 as written.
Also move.
I'll second. Moved by Meats, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Miscellaneous.
We'll wait on that first one. That'll be with River Bridge when they come.
The first one is?
Oh, wait. Oh, no.
Miscellaneous motion.
Yeah, no, that one's right.
Keep on
I'm
rolling?
sorry, yeah.
Okay. Move to direct and authorize the chairman to sign CP2 payroll notice for Lauren Hall, transfer from appraiser, field appraiser to sheriff's office associate, subject to new higher IPP wage classification from 35-1 to 30-5, wage from 1948 to 1981, effective 9/5/23.
So moved. Second that.
Moved by Huguet and seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Upon the request of the Coffee County Housing Authority Board, move to authorize Director Vice
Chairman. Sorry.
to sign the real estate mortgage release, acknowledging satisfaction in full debt secured by Chad A. Tuttle and Rebecca L. Tuttle, east half of Lot 10 and all lots 11 and 12 in Block 177 in the city of Burlington, Coffee County, Kansas, in volume and pages of the mortgage is recorded in is the book, volume M302, pages 528 through 529 of the records of the Register of Deeds of Coffee County, Kansas.
So moved.
Moved by Huguet and
I'll second that.
seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. The next one, upon the request of the Coffee County Housing Authority Board, move to authorize the Director Chairman to sign real estate mortgage release, acknowledging satisfaction of full debt secured by Gloria Floyd, lots 3 and 4 in Block 186 in the city of Burlington, Coffee County, Kansas. Volume and pages mortgage is recorded in book volume M283, pages 396 through 397, in the records of the Register of Deeds for Coffee County, Kansas.
So moved.
I'll second. Moved by Huguet and seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Who moved and seconded on that first one? I'm sorry.
I second.
First.
Tom moved.
On the one before?
Yep.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Upon the request of the Coffee County Housing Board, move to authorize Director Chairman to sign real estate mortgage release, acknowledging my satisfaction of full debt secured by Joyce A. Winery?
That'll work.
Yeah, Winery.
What is it?
Lots 1, 2, and Block 161 in the city of Burlington, Coffee County, Kansas. Book volume 300, pages between 524 to 525 of the records of the Register of Deeds for Coffee County, Kansas. Call it.
Second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by Huguet. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now we are done with our miscellaneous motions. We'll do 905, appraiser Tony Lawrence. You're up, man.
Good morning.
Morning.
I would like to
asked to publish to need to replace the field appraiser. And would like to take applications. Since I have mine go to the sheriff's office.
I gotta go have to refill the seat, so. Do we need a motion to advertise?
Yes.
Angie is typing. Maybe typing.
I can hire
Yes, please.
a field appraiser.
Filling a vacant position. Motion to authorize direct the appraiser to advertise and hire a field appraiser to fill a vacant position. No new position is being added.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Moved by McCurry, seconded by Meeks. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Happy hiring.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Saban's not here yet, huh?
He just texted and said he's 2 minutes away.
2 minutes away? Well, he's on the clock, so you
You
better
bet.
get his rear end here. Oh, let's see.
So I assume we're saving these, the resolution and stuff,
Save it.
part of that resolution stuff. Good.
Good.
How about you?
Do what?
How you doing, Wade?
Is he part of that resolution?
Yes.
Which
You-
is
all of
all
these
the
next one,
resolution.
Okay.
he's part of all that. He's the one that sent those all to me,
Okay.
or to all of us.
I see that Amber got a hold of the Coffee County Transportation.
Hmm.
Oh, gosh. Bobby, did you get rested up?
Yes, sir.
That was a nice evening, Friday evening.
How many people did it visually look like was there?
At the
Groundbreaking?
groundbreaking, I don't know how many chairs was there, but
100?
I'm gonna say there was a lot of them full. I'm gonna say we was
80-90%.
80-90% full.
We didn't advertise that, so we could have possibly pulled in if we wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
If there was 100 chairs there, it might have been 80. I figured 60, but I didn't realize 100 chairs.
I mean, I stood, a lot of people were standing, during the ceremony too.
That was a nice ceremony.
Friday evening was nice down at the Kelly Park,
Yes,
good music.
very much so.
How'd the barbecue go?
Really good.
Did it? Good.
We gotta thank Mark for that. He put in all the sweat equity. There brought a lot of people in
Film
the
the
game. There brought a lot of people.
We had teams from seven different states.
Wow.
6 of the top 20 teams in the country, including 1, 2, 3, and 5.
Wow.
And smelled good down there.
A lot better than during the fair, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Pleasant.
So who won?
Getting Basted, and he's the #1 team in the country, and he missed getting a 700 by a fraction of a point. And 700 in barbecue is getting really high scores on all 4 categories, and it's really an achievement. And he also got a 180 in chicken, which And barbecue, competition barbecue on 180 is like getting a 300 in bowl. So,
Must have been a darn good chicken, that's all I can say.
well, I tasted this brisket, which I thought was outstanding, and it only placed fourth. Anyway, we're looking forward to doing it next year.
I hear we kinda got maybe a battle of,
Locals.
I heard a wager made.
yeah, there were shots fired Friday night.
That's right.
So we did have our contest on Saturday, and there was another contest in Omaha on Sunday. And about 6 to 8 of these teams were going to Omaha the next day. They call that a rolling double, where they go to 2 contests in successive days.
Wow, that's a lot of work, that's all I can say.
They're serious about it.
That's their livelihood. Mr. Saban, you're up, sir. We was gossiping to fill the void.
Oh, that's okay. I'm never good at judging the construction 3 zones coming through on the way down here. So, but good morning. Hope you all had a good weekend. And I was wanted to give you an update on everything, and I know there were some questions from the last meeting, so I'll be happy to address any of those that you all may have. But we've been busy on a number of things, both for Road and Bridge and for the economic development projects. And Road and Bridge, we've had a number of requests from Ryan to do drainage studies. Actually, he's got a number of culverts and pipes that are needing to be replaced. So we've had about 4 or 5 where they're too busy to actually do any of the engineering calculations as to what size pipes really need to go in. And then we work with him on those because some of those roads maybe have 2 or 3 cars a day. I mean, just very, very amount of traffic. So the Road and Bridge guys don't really have any problem with when there's say a 25-year storm or a 50-year storm, the road can overtop. So we do the drainage calculations, we provide that information to him, and then we work with him on sizing the pipe correctly. In most cases, we're going back with similar sized pipes just because, again, a lot of the roads are low volume and have very little bit of traffic. We have had some other work, some roadway plans that have been designed by other firms that we've had to review. And then also the Old 50 project, we finished up those plans, those are the KDOT, and now we're just waiting for the process to get that project going. As far as KSMC, I mean, I will tell you too, I did get briefed and I watched the video from me. I know you had questions on our invoicing. I think the best way I could answer it, if it's my mistake, I'll take the responsibility. But as your county engineer, many of the activities that you've seen on the invoices were necessary activities to advance the Beetle project, such that if and when there is an affirmative from the Department of Commerce at US, which hopefully they'll hear tomorrow, as the companies were working on their projects to get their applications into the US Department of Commerce, there were a number of items specifically that the applications were asking for, that as the engineer for the county and the areas of responsibility that we had for you, we needed to do some work. These were things that had to be part of the process. So, for example, I know you had questions on the site engineering.
Well, I know, and not trying to interrupt you, I don't mean to, but I know we approved for SSM, the 50,000 for where you had to do out there to get that ball rolling. But none of us, I mean, I even asked prior, about meeting with there was several meetings with KDOT, there was meetings with KSEM, there was some stuff we weren't aware of that was being done.
Yeah, and again,
I know we had a contract so to speak, for the 50,000 for
Right.
the airport.
I think I'm,
Beyond that, I assume that whatever's going on at FEDO, once that grant money was in place, then wherever you're doing what was on the invoice, that process would start then. So basically there was, I guess, no prior knowledge, or I hate to use the word approval, but
yeah, no,
since it is an approval.
yeah, I think,
$144,000.
yeah, I guess again, you can put that on me. I just, so because of how this process was working, I guess I made the assumption, because when we set up our original on-call contract, I had 3 categories in there: road and bridge, you know,
Yeah, we
And
knew
then-
you were gonna bill that way. You're
Right.
gonna bill road and bridge for their part,
yeah, economic development.
economic for their part, yeah, and so on and so forth. So-
Yeah, so I guess, again, my assumption was, because some of this upfront work needed to be done, until we got to September 6th, I was putting those billings with notes into the economic development category. If we need to redo our invoicing to separate it out, if I need to come here more regularly to keep you guys informed,
That would be somewhat helpful as well, I think, but that's just me.
Well, and if our, you know, I think the billing was for 3 months maybe, if I'm, or close to it.
May through months.
So
It
if,
did go back all the ways on stuff that needed to be done, and
so we would have had a little earlier warning if we had concerns.
I
If
can,
we
I
could have
can,
got the billing. every
I can
month.
work with my accounting folks. You know, the team does you know, we get the numbers in and then they work with that, but I can certainly work with those folks to make sure we get a monthly invoice in. And I can, just make it on my calendar to come back every 2 weeks. I kinda do that with road and bridge. And, you know, if I just get on your calendar, then I can make sure everything runs through you guys.
But no, that way we're not being charged twice to come down here.
Well, and, you know, I will say this too, just a little bit of defense. I mean, there's a fair amount of time, because it's a pretty extensive project that I'm not showing on what we're doing, because I'm waiting for this project to really happen. And then we can, as I think Bobby mentioned, or we've mentioned, the opportunity to get reimbursed for these costs. That's kind of where we're trying to, believe it or not, minimize as much as we can, but get the work that the covered entities need to get their funding so that we can get the project going.
And we've been told we will be reimbursed, but by the same token, when the grant comes down, who is that grant being awarded to? I hear it's not us. It's not Coffee County themselves.
Yeah.
So where is the guarantee?
So,
Because we've got $4.5 million worth of property, we have your bill,
$1.5 million in other bills probably.
and other bills, so I mean, you know, we're approaching $6 million. I can build a lot of crops building down to Kelly
So
Park for that.
I'll address it as I know how to answer, but again, I might defer to Bobby on that. But my understanding is, because the project up at Beto, even with the federal funding.
With every understanding, there's misunderstanding, so.
Yeah, I think at Beto, what my understanding is that even if the entities receive the federal funding, that federal funding represents, in essence, about a third of the overall project. And then they're doing bonding and they're doing other private financing, truly as a public-private partnership project. And the financing that Raymond James has been involved in with the project, at least my understanding is the reimbursable dollars will come back through the financing part of the project. I believe I'm stating that pretty accurately. So, all along, that's what I've heard from the bond financing people consistently, is that's where Coffee County will receive the reimbursable funds. And so, even, you know, the trigger date hopefully is tomorrow, as far as the federal dollars. But even many of the companies, and again, I hate to speak for them, but in several of the meetings, they're moving forward with this private financing to make this project happen.
So the private financing is where the reimbursement is going to come from, not from the government.
That's absolutely
That's
correct.
the way you understand it?
That's the way I understand it.
Okay.
One thought might be that the county's still gonna own the land, so there's not gonna be a project without the land, so.
That is
At that-
that's the true trigger.
At that point, then I think we need to see that we're being reimbursed, am I right, guys?
In my opinion,
Yes.
yeah.
I mean, the county owns, I say we, I mean the
Yeah,
county.
the county, no, that's
We own the
correct.
land. That's our bargaining chip in my mind. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way.
But that does make it a little clearer where the reimbursement might come from, because I guess I was under the assumption that that would come from government funding.
Me too, yeah.
Which doesn't make any
Might
difference.
not be able to come from government funding, that's why it's coming from the bond or whatever. it may be.
Right.
Okay.
And again, in the meetings that I've sat in on behalf of you, the covered entities understand that. They've understood that for months and months and months. So, I can certainly say this, if something is different, it's not because of something I heard differently, okay? I mean, because those have been the discussions, and you know, I trust that is how Raymond James is handling the process, so.
You mentioned statement tomorrow's a trigger date?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, my understanding is
What's all
that,
involved in the trigger?
so the U.S. Department of Commerce has told EMP Shield anyway that their application, that they should hear word on their application tomorrow.
That was the deadline.
That was the deadline.
For the notification.
Correct.
But yet they've got till September 30th for a final deadline or a final decision.
I'm not,
What's our two date? What's the difference? in those two
I'm not
dates?
tracking September 30th, to be honest with you.
September 6th is the,
Yeah, that,
Okay.
yeah.
The dates keep moving around.
Well, they're jockeying around.
Part of it is I mean, to be honest, is the federal government. They're that's been part of the challenge. But,
That's always a challenge.
so, but again, I know in talking to EMP Shield, they continue to hear September 6th. So, I know many of them have it on their calendar. Let's hope that is what the federal government sticks to from the Department of Commerce. I do want to address the KDOT thing, or just one last comment on Vito. And I clearly apologize. I can come forward to you guys every 2 weeks and let you know not only what we've done, but what's laying ahead. We are minimizing right now, but I do want to address the KDOT issue for a moment.
Well, again, the only concern was, we had no idea that this work needed to be done, or that it was being done.
I hear you.
So,
Yeah,
therein lies the,
yeah,
what the heck just happened.
right. Moving forward, I'll make sure that before we make a move, I communicate to you all. And then, you know, I'll address it in asking for your approval.
Yeah, if it needs to be done, it needs to be done.
Okay.
Yeah, no question it had to be done, but just,
I mean, we're all in on the project.
Yeah.
right.
I think
That's right.
everybody's got here 100% support for the project. It's just, when do we quit writing checks?
Yeah, I understand, and believe me, even Bobby and I have discussed that at length, is, you know, trying to manage that, you know, how do I address a need and yet try to minimize, you know, at least up front. We're hopeful, I would think, that if they do get word tomorrow, I guess I should say, I'm guessing that there will be a very, a significant amount of pressure on the engineering group to move quickly with the work that needs to be done up there. And the four categories of work that the way I look at it, 4 buckets of work are water, sewer, utility coordination, I guess I'll call it 5, the finishing the site design, okay, and then the transportation. And when I speak transportation, that was the reason for the KDOT meetings, is they require a traffic study. Their process takes a long time. We knew that if we got to September 6th and we hadn't done any of the upfront, any initial work with KDOT, it would just push that schedule further back. So We've presented a traffic study to show them what the impacts would be on 75 and Old 50. We do have to go back to them. They had some comments and they wanted us to actually address in the traffic study not only the future condition of workers, but what do we do when the construction workers show up? How do we handle traffic on Old 50 and 75? So we've been making some modifications to what they've asked us to, so we can take that back to them and ultimately get some level of approval that we can move forward again with that process. KDOT was very open to the idea of helping the county with funds for the improvements. They're supportive of the project. They even asked, I guess this is a good time for you to bring me up here, because they asked, every 2 years now they do a circuit around the state asking locals for what their project needs are. That's coming up in October. I believe it'll be in Iola. And they have asked that either I or representative come to that meeting and present our projects up at Beto on 75 and Old 50, so that they can get it into the list and they can begin to compete for a higher level of dollars in their program. And I think that is absolutely what needs to happen. Again, as watching your meeting last week, as Bobby alluded to, getting some funds from KDOT, that's part of the process. Is we got to get on their list. I mean, we don't have to, but there's a better chance of getting more dollars if we get on to their programming list to move this forward. So that's just one example. We've been working with Carl because we needed to have the other issue on water and sewer. These entities needed to give numbers to KDHE, so KDHE could help set some parameters for the projects. And the way this is structured with the county controlling the public sewer and the wholesale district doing water, that kind of fell into our bucket to provide some information and some assistance to Carl. And also KDHE actually requested, to be honest with you, they got kind of tired of every company calling them, and it got very confusing for them. So they reached out to us.
And that's where you came in?
Yeah, and they reached out to me and Carl, actually, and Bobby, and said, hey, you guys get them under control, so to speak. We want one point person. It's really me and Carl, and that's, so then now the companies feed their water sewer information, their recycling information, all the information about what they're doing with their product is now coming through the two of us, so we can communicate to KDHE. So that was some of the work that was happening, that's also in there.
Stephen, I think we all fully respect what you're doing, and the project as a whole is going to be a huge, huge project. I think it would be great if you give us, as things move ahead, the project's going to get bigger, more responsibilities, and being down here every 2 weeks could be maybe maybe you can't find a time for it, but I'm sure you can. But it'd be a huge update for us.
Yeah.
And as things, because things are going to change every 2 weeks or once a month, or I assume they probably will. And the quicker we're made a knowledge of that, the quicker you can proceed ahead, and we'll be better informed. So
absolutely, I have no. I guess I should say this. For me, I mean, you're my biggest projects and company right now, and so I absolutely can make the time to be here. This is. I want this to be successful. We do as a firm. I think you got an excellent project. You got a lot going on here, and we're thrilled to be a part of that. But it's no problem for me to make your agenda every 2 weeks.
And to go along with that, we realize that you need the freedom to move about, going to meetings, I mean, without coming to us every time. To go along with what Tom and Donna just said, as long as you come in every 2 weeks and let us know what's going on. And we do realize that you need the freedom to move.
I appreciate that. I will say this, again, it's a fluid process, but one thing we have done is we've put together I'll call it a very rough schedule, okay? And we put this together a couple months ago, but we don't have a set start date and end date because we haven't known exactly is September 6th really going to happen or that matter. Maybe when I come back, in a couple weeks, I'll bring that schedule, just so you can start to see how we envision this project moving forward. And the schedule has had input from the covered entities. We've not done this in a vacuum. But at least you can kind of see what we see coming. And again, it will move, it'll change. But that might give you a little bit more of a heads up in advance.
Will there be a point that you'll be off Coffee County's billing, account and over on the covered entities accounts?
I don't know the answer to that yet.
Yes, so there's 10 different parties going back and forth, but the finance is just going to take precedent and set up an entity on behalf of the county. That entity will be paid by all the multiple companies locating, and they will employ Saban. And that's a discussion coming up here in this coming week. That starts this coming week.
Not that we don't mind seeing you, but as soon as we can get off your billing account as far as this goes, the better off I think we'll all.
We'll kick him on
Be
down the road.
satisfied with road and bridge.
Yeah, you'd be satisfied with road and bridge.
I do understand, so, and again, the project's gonna, it's gonna take 3 years, if you really look at it. Again, whether we're being funded in another direction as it switches, we'll still have the responsibilities, honestly, to you guys as your county engineer to make sure that the components that the county has agreed to be responsible for get done in the right manner, in the right schedule, and work within the budget that we've been trying to establish with the.
I think Carl has one thing.
I just wanted to ask a quick question. September 6th, we'll know about all the companies getting allocated for KSNC, correct?
No, we'll only know about EMP.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I've been working on those water numbers for the Kansas Water Office, and know things can change with those numbers depending on funds.
The EMP is about 65–70% of the total project.
Yes.
They are the project.
Yeah.
Right, but I was wanting to ask about the other companies, because they have an impact on the water usage.
Again, from the weekly meetings we've had, it seems clear to me, again, not meaning to speak for them, but the other businesses are still moving forward with their projects, and even talking about, I'll call it the next round of CHIPS Act, because again, they can get their projects going with private financing, bonding, however they want to do it, they're investing. And they're talking about, that's their plan to move forward, but still get in line for another round of CHIPS Act. They all have submitted pre-applications. They all have received some comments. I don't know what those comments are back from the U.S. Department of Commerce, but that's what's kind of driving their decisions about, let's kind of get our ducks in a row and look for the next submittal.
Bobby, do you know how many other applications there are for future CHIPS grants? 4 others?
Yes, sir.
4 other entities are applied for that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's all in support of EMP, right?
Yes, sir.
All those companies work with them then?
Yes, sir.
If one company earns a grant, does that guarantee the other 3 will be too?
Not necessarily,
Okay.
but it
So they
sure
can do
helps.
2, and 2 can be turned down by.
Yes, sir. And they have, like we've talked about, and you just alluded to it, you've been privy to the internal discussions, but there's plans to move forward even without the federal incentives.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds difficult to believe, we're chasing those incentives, we need them, but we're going to have a project no matter what.
We've heard that from E.M. Shields.
Yes, sir.
No, all of them have been providing us, your engineer, their, I'll call it their modifications to the original footprint, what size buildings they're still looking at, they're still substantial, and how they might phase, into their work. Again, I don't want to speak for them, but all of these have been in the discussions we've had on weekly meetings, just listening in on. And actually, to be honest with you, that's where some of the meetings show up. And you're right, I'll communicate better to you, but like EMP asked us to sit in on their meetings, not we want you hearing what we're talking about so that you're aware of it. And the same with FMLST and KPN, all of them have said, hey, we're better off if you're listening, because then you can react. And so that's kind of where some of those items are showing up. But, great project, and there is a lot of other projects going on, and, as far as invoicing, let me see what I can do to get that a little more clearly defined. I think, again, I've been using the on-call, but if I need to shift out and create a project that's strictly for Beto, I can do that.
Well, it looked like the invoice I saw, it looked like everything was, I believe 100% of it was veto. The meeting you had with us, but, I don't have a problem with that, it's just, I'll go back and say it again, that we had no idea all this was happening, no prior knowledge of it, I guess. I mean, if it has to be, it has to be.
So some of that was going back 75 or 80 days, 90 days, and if it had been more current, if it had been smaller invoices coming in
Right.
along the way, which might have made it a little more understandable.
Yeah. I can take care of that.
This is mostly you guys' field of expertise. So we have to entrust that everybody that comes through here and tells us is doing their due diligence to make sure all the bases are covered, and nobody comes back at the end and say, oh, hey, by the way.
I completely understand. My responsibility too, I've been doing this for almost 40 years, and I have a responsibility to you guys to have your backs and get you the information and run things through you. So I completely understand. You've got a whole county of people that you're responsible to, and I completely respect that and understand that. So
Them and their money,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I can handle that.
I just want to tag in on the end of the conversation. I'll be reaching out to say that as far as the SSM project and the project up at the airport for some technical assistance on the wastewater systems up there, to make sure that we can do it all localized and keep it right there at the airport. And then I also want to let you guys know that we got some preliminary numbers on the water, that SSM is going to need about 1,100 gallons of water a month, just so you have it for your information.
A month or a day?
I'm sorry, Dave, my fault.
So that's down from that's down somewhat from the 14 or 15.
Yeah, and then for Paragon, when they come in, it'll be about 1,275 gallons a day. Now, the only one that'll have any processed water will be the SSM project. The rest of it will be just for employees, for what they would have. But I just want to tag in on that.
No, I'm actually glad you said that, because now moving forward, since you broke ground, any work at SSM will be under that 50,000 contract. Before that contract was there, because you saw that 3-month invoice, we kind of had that, where do I put it into? I put it in economic development. Now this will all be into that project.
Okay.
And it was a decent I need some technical assistance to make sure I'm interpreting some of the data right I found for a system that could go in and out at the airport. And I'm working with Darren Ish on it also, that we make sure that we stay within the FFA guidelines and their boards for the wastewater.
So
Wastewater.
is the wastewater Coffee County's or is the wastewater SSM?
We'll have to get that worked out.
Okay.
But
That's what I'm trying to
putting it together
figure
so
out.
that
is
they have
when
an
does this
idea,
go to?
because they would like us, if they had to put it in their systems, that we would regulate it, and I'm not uncomfortable with regulating it. And KDHE's given me that blessing too.
So are we charging for the wastewater system?
So this is the answer.
Per month, per whatever?
If it turns into a facility that is commonly used, that serves multiple industries, somebody has to keep it up. You can't depend on multiple private interests to keep a Laguna, for instance, or a system. So we would, as a county, make sure it stays up and charge them a fee commensurate with paying for his time, for the cost, any cost the county.
Right.
They'll have to pay a fee.
That's what I was.
I haven't worked it down we haven't worked it down that far yet, but it was some conceptual ideas, because we was talking about lagoon first. I mean, can't put a lagoon on site.
Correct.
Out at the airport. The FFA highly recommends against it. So,
Even if it was way off down to the east of the property, the east?
There's some real stiff regulations from the FAA about distance that lagoons can be because of birds. It's actually pretty far, to be honest with you.
Okay, I just said.
We would have to make-
Ponds closer is the only reason I asked.
It's a bird you should get. I mean, it would be.
Yeah.
it's a bird issue, but they got a high recommendation against it.
Right,
And
that's what I mean.
They would have to have somebody spell in on it, to check in on it, and it would extend the process out quite a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Darren, when I talked with Darren, he said if we can put something below ground, that would, a septic tank lateral field type system,
Right.
that would be more preferable to him, and easier to deal with the FFA on.
So is that septic system gonna be on Coffee County property, is it gonna be on the 8 acres of SSM?
It would be on Coffee County property right up against, there's a flat area right up there against that fence that you can't get to the airport. It's really, lays really nice. And it would be something that we're going to be looking at, but what I would need technical assistance on is to make sure I'm sizing accordingly. And then if we need to draw up some plans for a contractor to bid it accordingly if we do it.
And then
So
it's gonna be sized to handle the other two entities that may be coming in,
Yes.
Paragon and the other.
Right, I'm gonna try to do as right as I can on the front side of the curve as far as what each individual site may need, or we make a combination.
Future needs are accommodated.
Where's Paragon going in? Are they going in between the airport, SSM? When are we gonna hear more about that?
Carl and I met with their architect last week,
Yes,
and they've said this month, within a month, they will come give the commissioners official notice. We're gonna do our project. And I'll say this, they've already got a big grant from the state. Plus, we got another couple of grants we're gonna write that are gonna be similar to what SSM just did, so we can pay for some wastewater or water improvements. So we had that discussion.
So before Paragon comes in, it'd be nice to know what Carl's doing on the sewer and the costs.
right, keep it on try to keep as much of this on the front side of the curve.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And I did call Chris Withers this morning before I come up to let him know about the water usage per day. So Coffee 3 is well aware of that that's going on out there.
Okay.
What kind of acreage are that Paragon gonna require?
Well, they currently, now, I was instructed to tell the commissioners publicly that Kansas is not associated with Paragon. However, Kansas sits on 4 acres, and Paragon is wanting to locate on part of that 4 acres. I hope I threaded that needle carefully enough,
Right.
but they will locate right next to Kansas on 4 acres that the county had already sold Kansas years ago.
Right, okay, that was my
So they don't need any more property.
I did tell him in their design, that'll drive what they need.
Now's the time to take care of it, they need.
I told them that if they need some more, they need to let us know, and we'll talk to them about whatever's needed.
And also want to make sure that we're communicating on the SSM up there as far as the wastewater system, on the comparable systems.
I do have one last thing on Vito, I'll go back to that, just again to give you a heads up. Once whomever gives us the word to go, the one thing that we've discussed at length with all the covered entities is that even though they all can individually hire their own contractors to do their work, and there's a possibility you'll see multiple contractors out there under each of the companies, there's a large amount of agreement. I've pushed very hard that when the go happens, the first order of business should be a site grading plan and plans and construction. That does the entire site. I think it's a much more cost-effective way to do it. Let's move the dirt once and be done with it. And then any tweaking is on their contractors that they may need to do if they are modifying a building plan or something of that nature. So I would say first order of business when there is a green light is that we would work quickly on your behalf to get a site grading package ready to go on the street. And I'm already receiving calls from contractors around the area, significant because the word is out. I mean, the word is definitely out on the project, and so that's a heads up. There will be engineering to get the final site grading plans, specs in place, and I think that you'll see that as the first order of business. And with it being one site package, it really only makes sense that however we get paid or reimbursed, the package probably needs to come out through the county since it's your property. So we do the county package, we grade it.
But if we sell it to them, then they could be responsible.
Absolutely,
Am
absolutely.
I correct?
The cost can be rolled back in some manner.
Well, I mean, once they get the green light, the grant, I mean, I guess I'm trying to get
I would
horse
only
in
say,
front of the cart. Do we
Yeah.
sell them the land and push the dime over on them with you?
I would only
Or-
say, and then I'll defer to Bobby, but, it depends on when the bond proceeds become available. That would be the trigger, if I'm making sense, because otherwise, let's say they get the green light tomorrow, and, I would probably need to come or send you, and say, can we go at least move ahead on the design of the site plan so it can be ready and have a package ready. But then it becomes a decision of if you don't, so that engineering may be a cost, but it may be for the overall project that you want to wait to bid it until the proceeds are there. I mean, that would be a question we need to work out.
That's my question, whether all these different entities are gonna, even the physical grading, how's that gonna be decided, who pays what, or, you know, I go along with your point of, let's grade it first, and so we're not moving dirt twice, but is that something that we're gonna have to do?
I mean, if you sell them the land, then it's on them, so I mean,
I understand, but, you
so
know.
I guess,
I
we'll go back to that, when do we stop writing you a check?
Yeah, I don't know.
When do we sell? I guess
Or maybe that's the other question,
yeah.
It's too big of a question to sit here, we could do it, it'd take about an hour and a half to articulate all the 5 points, but simply put, my banker is Walker Trimble. If my banker calls any of you and says, I guarantee Bobby is gonna have a check, the bank's gonna write a check on X day to cover 100% of your costs. So till then, just make sure it gets done. That's what's gonna happen in the next month, next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You're gonna have Greg Varnberg and the attorneys coming here, and they're gonna say, okay, here's our red line. This is the level of funding you're gonna get at X date. They've already planned out the issuance of all this debt, and it ain't gonna happen fast. But the engineers, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
They are like, go, go, go. We need this done now, but the funds ain't there. So the county will have a decision. If you do want to front some of the work, like the grading plan, just to get ahead of the curve, you will be able to make that decision. Now, you hadn't been involved in all the day-to-day discussion. Now it's come to a head. I mean, but
See,
it
that's
has
where the
time.
surprising part comes in, we haven't been.
Yes, but you will. Don't worry. You're going to be on, if not a daily level, at least every other few days, you're going to have to start meeting to make a bunch of decisions. You can't.
And we're good either way. I wanted to just let you know that's the piece coming. I mean, this is.
And I look at it as you're gonna have to have somebody go in and strategically place these buildings, because if you got an entity that comes in and plops down right in the middle of that 300 acres,
Yeah.
and now it's all screwed up.
Yes.
So you want to utilize and maximize all of your acreage as much as possible.
We are laughing because
transportation.
this is exactly the discussion we are waiting for this information from a couple of key players on the covered entity side, because as I mentioned, we did a site plan, they liked it, it worked for their applications. Now they're getting into the real, okay, what do our facilities really look like? Where's the best lay of the land? And because EMP is 70% of the project, they're kind of the big gorilla. So we're saying, tell us where you want to be now so we can make the adjustments. And they are communicating with the others, but they've given us some parameters. The others have given us some parameters. Just to your point, you can't just plop in the middle and mess us all up.
Yeah.
So we're waiting to get some information back that then we can modify the master plan so everybody can know where they're going to eventually land. I don't think you're going to see this monumental change, but you are going to see some change because, frankly, again, EMP is they're the one driving the project, and we believe, and so do the other covered entities believe, they should be the ones that kind of set first, and then we figure out how we work around them, or they figure out how we work around them, and we adjust the site plan for that.
You know, so many things, access, all your utilities, everything else is gonna.
So you get the green light tomorrow. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, go ahead.
You get the green light tomorrow.
If EMP calls Bobby and and Bobby calls me, then I might be back here next Monday. Because.
That's where I was headed, so you get the green light tomorrow. You as the, engineering firm, you're wanting to do the dirt work all at one time as far as just land preparation. I mean,
Yeah,
that's not
yeah.
sites or anything, that's just,
Yeah.
so what does that entail? That's where what happens?
So, because as you've seen in the invoice, we've already done what I'll call as a preliminary site plan.
Right,
And, so the change now is, let's just say, we know EMP is gonna move off of the sites that they originally told us they wanted. We're waiting to get that information back, so then we kinda have to I won't say entirely redo, but we're gonna have to redo that site plan. And in the meantime, the other covered entities are giving us their footprints, so we can start putting them in there together. So that's part of what step one, is kind of relay them out. And then step two is, because we've already done some earthwork calculations, actually pretty significant. Okay, we're pretty good there. See what that new layout does to the earthwork. Make any changes to that site plan we already did, and then work toward putting together a bid package
Okay.
for whoever does that bid package.
and that needs to happen once the green light, that needs to happen.
Yeah, I believe it does. Again, I work for you, so I think I might be here next Monday.
No, that's what I'm-
Because it's, if we get a green light, we probably need to have the discussion. How do you want to proceed? Because, that's just, the other factor, and I may be wrong on this, Bobby can correct me, but kind of tied into this is if EMP does get the federal dollars, there are timeframes in that agreement too.
That they've got to keep.
They've got to
Yeah,
keep
and
up
so
with.
then we're in this deal, that's where we have to trigger something.
And your suggestion then, the dirt work would be done by one
Yes,
bid.
one bid.
To do the preliminary.
Yes,
And then from then on, after that, then it would be up to the end.
yes, yes. I believe we can do the site preparation and literally get it ready for those companies.
That doesn't mean we pay for it.
No,
I mean,
yeah.
No, I was just
We-
trying to get.
we
I was
may
just
control
trying-
it.
I was just trying to get an idea of how things were going to happen, or needed to happen.
If you did get a green light tomorrow, we're gonna keep it close to the vest. Nothing's official until it's on paper.
Yeah,
So that it'll likely come verbal.
Sure.
It'll probably be on some website, but we want it contractually on paper. That may take a week or two or more, but the commission immediately is gonna be brought into like sit-downs, discussions, not just with Saban, but with a whole bunch of different people, and your brain's gonna explode, but you're gonna have to go through a bunch of stuff we've already been through, but a lot of the new decisions are gonna have to be made.
yeah.
Sounds exciting, doesn't it? Stomp on
Anyway,
my
I
toes.
didn't mean to drag it out, but I
No, you're
wanted,
So are we doing these resolutions today?
I,
There is resolutions on here for, general obligation bonds,
It's for SSM.
SSN.
That's Joe Serrano.
Okay,
He's supposed to.
okay.
I'm done.
Okay,
Unless you have
thank
other
you.
que- Yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks for the information.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Okay.
I think I'm supposed to call him.
Sorry, we're running
You want a
late.
copy of this? You want a copy of this, Bobby?
You want a copy of these?
If you
No.
When do y'all wanna talk to him if I call him?
It can be whenever we'll get down to Adam and Amber here, and don't know how long they'll both need.
We'll do Adam real quick, and then if it's gonna be real quick.
Should be.
Other stuff not today.
That should be real quick.
That's your plan, right?
Yeah.
Our plan too.
That's
So just take that off then.
Bobby,
Bobby's.
just so you know, there's a number of blanks in those resolutions. So if you want.
More than that.
Good morning, how are you guys doing?
Good, how's your day?
President of the county.
Tuesday.
long weekend.
Long.
Good on our
Take
road.
I kept on thinking Jake had
Overnight
one.
for-
I know. That's off there, yep.
I don't know why.
That's an overnight notification. Already got him that.
You got that, and then.
I do not have that.
Well, how's everybody's weekend?
Not long
Nice.
enough.
Not long enough. Pretty relaxing.
Been doing a lot.
Seen Tom out golfing when I was out there.
Was he out in the roadway picking up his ball?
No, a couple times he was wandering around aimlessly.
If the water level in that pond could raise after a couple, 2 or 3 balls, I raised it.
Did you? I'll let him know they can shut the pump off and quit pumping water into it.
Yeah, that can raise water level.
If you guys are ready, I'll get started.
Let's get started.
No call outs this weekend. The only other things I've got is a couple motions on some CP2s, a couple new hires. One started this morning actually, and then the other one will start next Monday.
Okay, that's first, before the lean-to.
You wanna do the lean-to
So,
first?
well, I was told that was gonna be the order, but I can,
Oh,
we can
no, they
switch it
just
up.
got it all to me this morning, and I
Okay,
just.
we can switch it up.
Yes.
So we have planned, or we have thought about a lean-to off the back of our truck barn for quite a few years now. And we have, we've actually budgeted for it for the last 2 to 3 years with the capital improvement. What we're looking for is just a basic 150-foot long by 25-foot open to the west lean-to off of our truck barn for extra storage. We've got a lot of new nice equipment down there that we'd like to get underneath the roof. Mowing tractors and blades and stuff that sits outside year-round that think would be better off having that stuff under a roof.
It would help the longevity of the hoses and all kinds of things.
So is it gonna be enclosed and accessed through the other building, or will it be
So
open?
there is a walk-through door on the west side of the existing truck barn that will remain there, and that'll be a wall there.
The wall's gonna stay there?
The wall's gonna stay there, and then it'll be closed off on the north and the south and be open to the west.
It's just basically gonna be a lean-to, park under, open to the west,
Yeah.
drive in and out type.
Yep, gravel floor, the only concrete will be poured for the piers, for the columns, and that'll all be red iron.
No, 25-foot wide, Adam, isn't any wider than what this office is, right?
25 foot deep,
I meant deep.
yeah.
25 foot's not very deep.
So that
Is
gets,
this the time to go to 40?
um,
Or is the height?
unfortunately, yes, bigger is better,
Yeah, because 25 foot ain't very deep.
but 25 foot gets the trucks, gets our blades, maybe other than the front axle, the blade might be towards the outside. We park stuff, when we know there's bad storms coming. We have a lean-to the same size off to the east of the truck barn. And so we empty the truck barn of all the dump trucks and park them in the lean-to and get all of our smaller trucks in the truck barn, everything under a roof. So we know everything fits with that size of a addition.
150 foot's pretty good length, too.
Yeah.
Well, and that thing keeps the sun off too, even if
Yeah.
you do get some moisture. And there's some that's
It'll
more
maintain.
damage than moisture does.
It'll
Yeah.
maintain more value, so.
Yeah.
I see where you're asking for a bid security, which is nice, and payment performance bonds, which is what Wade's gonna wanna see, so. Do you have any concerns, anything on that, or?
I didn't see anything that stood out that caused me any concern.
Okay. Need a motion?
Based upon the recommendation of the Road and Bridge Superintendent to approve the request for authorization to solicit formal bids for the truck barn lean-to addition at the county shop. Funds to be paid from the capital improvement fund.
So move.
I'll second. Moved by Thompson, second by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you. Now we'll get on to the CP2s.
Eric Hawkins.
Eric is first.
Yes.
These are both new hires, no transfers or anything, right?
New hires.
I need to add that in there. New hire.
Move to authorize direct the chairman to sign CP2 payroll notice for Eric Hockett, Road and Bridge Heavy Equipment Operator, new hire. Filling vacant position, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Wage classification 35-3, wage of $20.25, effective 9/5/23.
So you got two employees there for the same position. One of them's at 3503, and the other's 3501. Does one of them have a little more qualification to start with,
A
Adam?
little bit more experience, and then we had the second gentleman here. He agreed to this lower wage.
Okay, and there's not much difference in pay. 2025, 1948, 80 cents or so, also a month.
It's already been moved by
Okay,
Tom moved.
Tom, seconded by McCurry.
okay.
Any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Who seconded? I had McCurry.
McCurry.
Okay.
Tom moved, McCurry seconded.
Yeah.
The next one is Russell Drake.
Oh,
Russell Drake.
boy, is it Tuesday or Monday today?
All week.
I know.
Next one is, move to authorize direct chairman to sign CB2 payroll notice for Drake Russell
Russell Drake.
Road and Bridge, heavy equipment operator, new hire, filling vacant position, wage classification 35-1, wage starting of $19.48, effective 9/5/23.
So
9/11, it'll be next Monday.
Oh,
9/11,
Yes.
okay.
oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
I'll second.
Moved by Thompson, seconded by Leeds. Any discussion? Starting date is 9/11. All in favor say aye. Aye, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have anything else for me? Short and sweet?
Was you guys in Topeka or Kansas City last week?
Yes, sir.
Did they give you approximate delivery date on those trucks?
Not at this time there. The truck is on site, the bed is on site. I know originally in the bid it was 120 days, but he was looking at even possibly cutting that in half. Somewhere around 60 to 90 days. Everything's there and ready. That's what we went up there for last week, was to check everything over and dot all our i's and cross all our t's. So hopefully within the next couple months.
Good deal. Hopefully they're the truck you need.
Should be.
And they last.
You still got two openings for heavy equipment?
One.
Just one?
One. Yeah, we filled one. I think Ryan brought a CP2 last week, maybe, for Adam Moore.
If he's got time.
Is that it?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
Take care.
Have a good week.
You too. Stay cool. Nice and warm.
It's gonna cool off.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you.
Please stay. Any places for me to sign this?
Copy.
You see her?
I notified them and
Did you guys start? Yeah.
I emailed the EPM people this morning.
We'll be out there before they get off leave, so.
Oh, okay.
We'll be out of there by 2:30 or 3.
That'll be good.
Okay, thanks.
Morning, Amber.
Good morning. Happy Tuesdays with skies over Monday.
Yay.
So acts like a Monday?
Yes, still acting like Monday.
Pardon.
Just an acknowledgement.
I had 3 motions to give you.
I see one,
Well, maybe one that has 3 on it.
3.
There you go.
3 motions.
Yep.
Upon the recommendation of the Emergency Management Director, move to authorize Director Chairman to sign letter of agreement with Coffee County Fire District Number 1 as presented.
I'll move. Second. These are just annual letters, probably, aren't they, updates, Amber?
Yep. FEMA asked that we try to update them every 10 years, and we were going through them this year, and these were the ones that got them back to us. So we may have a few more trickle in, but these are the ones that I need to scan and get put into the plan and turn it in today.
Moved by McCurry, seconded by Meats. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye, motion passes.
Do you sign these now, or do you sign?
Do you already need me second on one?
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
McCurry moved and Meats seconded the first one.
Okay. Let's see. That was the Coffee County Fire?
Yep.
Yes. The Curry meat?
Yes. I was writing them down.
Thank
I'll
you.
start with it.
Thank you. She said it takes about 20 minutes, depending on how long, or it could be longer, but you can do that.
That'll work. Okay, the next one. On recommendation of the Emergency Management Director, move to authorize Director Chairman to sign letter of agreement with Coffee County Public Transportation as presented.
Also move.
I'll second that.
Moved by Meats, seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? Did you already have one of these in place with them? Oh, okay.
It was very old, though.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
There's that one.
Can you give me copies of those?
Yes, I can. Yes. I'm gonna run right down and scan them.
All right. On the recommendation of the Emergency Management Director, move to authorize Director Chairman to sign letter of agreement with Topeka National Weather Service as presented. I will move.
I'll second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion?
Just in case you were wondering, and I know you guys had this to read, but this has to do with the IPAWS and the EAS and getting notifications out to the public. WIBW is our radio station that we would use to notify the public.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And this
Give me
one,
this one, and then I should, with this one.
yeah, yeah, I think so. This one doesn't need that, but those two do.
Okay.
And is this?
That is all.
So you guys feel-
Okay.
Any issues, questions, comments? Good jokes?
No good joke.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Ryan's gonna be here at 10:30 instead of 1 o'clock. That's great. Said it'd take 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how interreactive we are. That's great. So if anybody would, I see one last motion on there. Is that one we need to hit, or is there one gonna be discussed?
Which one?
We've got 3 resolutions on SSN.
Resolutions are for
We're
today.
not gonna do them today.
Yeah. Well,
That last motion?
Yes, we need to do that, because, Jeff Fire was on that board before,
Oh, okay.
and we haven't appointed Ryan, so we got to.
Oh.
Sorry about
Very
that.
well. a bunch of to-dos.
Okay.
Move to appoint Ryan Durst to the Lake Region Solid Waste Authority Board of Directors.
That's a move.
I'll second.
Go ahead, Steve.
Moved by Thompson, seconded by McCurdy.
Is he aware of it?
Well,
He
yeah,
just kind of has to go along with the duties.
yeah, it's just formality for the board that we have a motion.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion passes. Anybody object to a 15-minute break? We're gonna have roundtable today. You got quite a bit for roundtable today.
Two main topics, and I apologize for my attire, but I don't. The Lions and the Chiefs play this week.
There you go.
Oh,
You throwing the Chiefs under the bus?
I'm not throwing them under the bus. It's just the first time in maybe my lifetime that the Lions get to start out the year playing somebody good, and they, last I heard, they were at least projected to maybe finish top 4 or top 5 in the NFC for the Lions.
I heard they had a good team going this year.
I remember the year they went 0-16 and set the record for most losses in the season. I lived in it. So,
Something you wanna forget.
yeah, I mean, it only gets better from there.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, so I'm just hoping for a good game. That's
Yep.
um,
Kind of like Colorado Buffaloes last year then.
Well, that
Yeah.
one last week, knocking TCU.
Yeah, that was it.
so the other part of that is originally this week I blocked off and I was going to be gone. So I figured if I was going to be gone, I could dress down and not feel as bad about it.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad about it.
You're just kind
You're
of.
here out of dedication.
You're kind of a substitute today, then, if we're supposed to be gone.
Wayne, I dress down every day.
I know, but it's one of those things I feel like I need to dress for the occasion. And I iron a shirt every day and it has to have a crease in it, and that's important to me. So
I didn't know you ironed shirts, I'll bring a bunch down.
But I have two main things.
Okay.
One will require an executive session. The other will, just so you can think about it before you take a break, require picking a date on the calendar for a public hearing related to your Resolution 900 that deals with disposal of county property. And it's the SSM property.
Okay.
So, if you recall, for the hospital property, Sunset Manor, it just required publishing it in the paper, providing people to show up if they want to provide any public comment, and then disposing of the property through the resolution. So I'm just trying to make sure you operate within accordance of Resolution 900.
Okay. And I think I spoke to Bobby about that a little bit too, last week.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we'll do that stuff later on. Take a break till 10:25. We can always come back early, can we?
Not if you take a break until you're coming back at a certain time.
We're gonna take a break.
What about back when we get here?
At
No?
10:14. Until 10:25.
Yeah. No earlier than.
Yeah, only 1 minute or less. So you have.
You want to run it from where you?
Sure. I can do that. There. Oh, there we go. Ryan will do it right over here.
That's a touch screen, so you can.
Good enough. Just,
again.
How's it going?
It's going.
Get set up here. Brought Kenny with some help on the technical side of stuff, so he's better than I am.
Thanks for coming early. We rolled through the day pretty
Yeah, no
good.
problem, no problem.
I'm sure we'll have plenty of stuff to keep us moving. I feel that the days of our meetings are going to continuously get.
I just don't plan anything at all for
Yeah.
Monday.
See, look at that. All right, so we've set up this work session today to discuss some of the minimum maintenance roads around the county. You know, right now, we have a lot of roads that are not currently signed throughout the county. So I just got some information. We'll just dive in and start going through it. You know, really the end goal is gonna be, at some point, we're gonna have to start doing some resolutions to declare some of these roads minimum maintenance so we can sign them. What is a minimum maintenance road? A minimum maintenance road is a road that receives little or no routine maintenance and has been officially designated by the Board of County Commissioners. Kansas law, KSA 68-5102, allows for certain roads to be designated as minimum maintenance for various reasons. Generally, roads that have been so designated have very low traffic volumes, and a local township with maintenance jurisdiction has determined other roads with higher traffic volume deserve more attention and resources. The Kansas statute provides a means to help counties and townships reduce liability for these very low volume roads that receive minimal maintenance. The statute 68-5 allows counties to declare roads that are used only occasionally or by only a few individuals to be minimum maintenance. This is the statute that basically goes through the process, but we'll have to go through to accomplish this. Minimum maintenance roads, you don't want any mail routes, bus routes, you know, where they can't provide a sole access to a home or business, so those roads should not be minimum maintenance. Once these roads have been officially declared to be minimum maintenance roads by the Board of County Commissioners, and after specific warning signs are installed, the county and township are exempt from any tort liability claim under the Kansas Tort Claims Act. So that's kind of that's what we're after here. That's the goal right there, is to get the liability that's out there to help with that. This is just an example of one of the resolutions we've had in the past of declaring a road minimum maintenance. You know, we have a small handful of roads that are signed by resolution. And we currently have 5 existing resolutions and for 7 sections of road. So that's currently what we have right now.
So Emmer and 21st isn't resolution? Really?
Currently we have 78 segments of open road without pauper resolutions in Coffee County. So that's significant amount. This has been talked about or in the works for several years. Wayne Blackburn got the ball rolling with identifying the need to addressing this, the lack of signage on our minimum maintenance roads. And so it's been several years ago he brought that up with the need. So it's something we've been working on. Sydney in our office, she does a lot of our surveying for county projects, and she has tons of hours in on researching roads as far as making sure that, you know, the roads we're looking at are actually open roads, writing the legal descriptions on what we're looking at, having resolutions on, pictures, documentations. She's put together some good PowerPoints. That was the first one. See if I can get
That's a full talking point, right?
Well,
That's a lack of better word, right?
Where do we go from here?
Yeah, you can only go up.
So this is the current, this is kind of a master map here. The way we put this out was, we broke it up in the commissioners' districts. So Tom, you're gonna look out, you're not gonna have any roads in your district that I know of, so. But anyway, so that's kinda how, this is the master map. I'll just go through, this is an example of some of the roads we're looking at here. So this will be up in the northwest, in Jesse's area here. So this is 25th and Angus, be the county line there on Angus. And so you have a section of road there that is, you can see that it's signed no outlet, but there's no, it does not say anything about it being minimum maintenance on this section of road. So this would be one of the many examples.
On that road, down there close to the railroad tracks, is there a barricade there? I know the railroad tracks are elevated.
Yeah, I
considerably.
don't know. On a lot of these roads, typically at the end of the road, you'll have like triple diamonds, stating at the road ends, but I mean, without me driving out there and seeing, I don't know what we have in place there, but there should be. That'll be the other thing we'll look at once we do this. We're shooting for consistency on our signing, you know. Even though they're not signed minimum maintenance, we still have maybe road closed or no outlet or some of that stuff. So you're still going to have a no outlet sign on roads that don't go through, plus a minimum maintenance sign, plus you should have some triple diamond signs at the end where the road terminates.
I think the railroad tracks is tall enough that nobody can fly down that road, go through the sign, and get stuck on the railroad track.
Right.
That'd be my only, and I'm almost 100% positive that the railroad tracks is elevated enough
Right.
that can't happen.
Right.
Or it shouldn't happen, I guess.
Right. This is just on the east side of that same mile, same type deal, but. So, I mean, basically, these PowerPoints here, I have 78 examples. This is just all the roads we're looking at. You know, I don't think we need to go through every one of these, but this just kind of gives you an idea. Here's Emmer and 28th on the north side of the interstate there. Jesse, you're familiar with this road. That's the stretch that we took over from Argonia Township there.
Mile west of Oak Road.
Yep. Yep. So, but I just got numerous examples here like that. And like I said, there's currently, if you look at that map, everything in red are the ones that we're proposing or we're looking at. You know, there's 78 segments that have no resolution.
There's a bunch of District 4 in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Steve, I think you have the most in District 4 with 31 roads. Jesse, you got 19. Wade has 17, Don has 11, and Tom, you have 9. But if you look at that map, you will see a couple green roads like up there southeast of Waverly, you see a green road. Well, that one is signed minimum maintenance, but there is currently no resolution for that. So that one's signed, but there's no resolution in place that has that signed. You will see a few examples of the roads in purple. I think there's 7 sections there that are signed by resolution. So the ones in purple are the ones that are done correctly.
So say that again on the green.
On the green, it's currently signed minimum maintenance, but there has not been a resolution put in place to officially sign it. So there's been signs put up at some point in time in the past,
But no resolution.
but there's no resolution for it.
So, all these ones that are red, is there any one that needs to not be minimum maintenance?
Well, so we've gone through.
According to the statute, you know, bus or.
Right, so that's what we've gone through, and we've eliminated most of them as long as they don't have a house on there. The big one for us is, you know, the business side of things, well, oil field. There's a lot of oil field traffic, so, I mean, if there's some place that they gotta be able to get in to load tankers, I mean, obviously those roads, I think we would want to keep those accessible, so those are not part of this right now.
But even if it's, signed minimum maintenance, they're not always a one-way in, one-way out?
No, that's correct. Some of them are
So
full miles.
So you do still maintain them to an extent?
Yeah, and even the dead-end roads that don't go all the way through, those should be maintained to an extent. I mean, even minimum maintenance, there is going to be some level of maintenance there, but it's not gonna be like the other roads.
But what you're doing is eliminating a liability
Yes.
with the verbiage of minimum maintenance, is
Yes.
that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So in order to do this, do you have to have a public hearing then?
Yes, yep, so,
So in your mind, Ryan, I mean, these roads now, is the maintenance of them gonna change, or are we just looking? for-
yeah, on some of them there will, because I think there's gonna be some roads that, maybe are like a dead end for farm access only, that in the past, I mean, the county has continued to haul rock and add a lot of rock to those roads, so those would maybe be some that we would look at, maybe they need to be minimum maintenance if they're only serving to get to a field. I mean, you know, you think if it's dry enough to get in the field and work, the road's gonna be dry enough to get down, so that's just discussion. You know, really in the end, I've got a book that has all these roads for your districts, and I really encourage you guys to maybe get with me, or at least drive those yourself, so we all have a clear picture of the roads that we're looking at. And that would kind of be a final review, because there may be some things that we'll go through and say, you know what, this one shouldn't be a part of this, for various reasons. And so that's what I would really like to happen, is really we need to have a final review. We've been reviewing these and going over them, and each time we see a few more things, but you're dealing with a lot of roads. We started out with about 90 roads, you know, a lot of dead-end roads that for various reasons needed to be taken off because of activities that were taking place on those roads.
So if these roads, you have the declaration on these roads, and then something changes, or individual situation feels like their situation merits more maintenance, then is this a reversible action?
Yes, that's a weight question, but yes, that would be reversible. Really how this process will work is after we do our final review of roads, we'll have a handful of resolutions, probably 5 or 6 different resolutions with a group of roads, and say we probably start with the southwest quadrant, because there's the least amount there of the county. You know, once you guys adopt a resolution, then that would be published in the paper for a public hearing. Then that would open the platform for people to come in and discuss anything they may see. After the hearing, we would declare a resolution, and once that's done, we only have 10 days to get signs put up on the roads that are in that resolution. So that's probably why we'll do a smaller amount, and that way we can get the word out to the public, and you know, they can have an idea. Okay, well, if they're in the southwest quadrant of the county, I know that's not pertaining to me, and so just instead of doing the whole county wide as a whole.
And it gives our sign person enough time to get the sign up.
Yeah. What else?
So if this is done, and you have a minimum maintenance road, and then you have a landowner that has a problem later on, I mean, is that something that they could come and talk to you about, and I don't know what that would pertain to.
Yeah, so right now, we have that situation now on some of these roads, that you have people that may,
and I don't know what that would amount to, Ryan,
may winter cattle, so there's times that we have to do some extra work on minimum maintenance roads, as far as some ditching and stuff like that. Yeah, we still have that option there, but
Okay.
as far as routine blading and maintenance on those roads, you know, you're probably not gonna have that. You're not gonna have that, but.
You don't have to be grade them once or twice a year.
Yeah, I mean, typically you will. I know when I was a blade guy and the summertime was hot and dry, those are the times I like to shape up those minimum maintenance roads like that.
Like number 28 down there, number 28, during harvest time, there's a lot of traffic and there's oil out there every 2 or 3 days, so. Grading it twice a year might not be enough.
Yeah.
There is probably a production down in that area.
Yeah,
Some of that
so.
production's on in Woodson County.
Right, right. So, I mean, that's a road there that, yeah, once we look at that, Don, you know, that may be something we need to take off, because you're right, there is some
I'm
oil
not
field
saying what to
traffic
do,
down
what
there.
not to, but there is, in certain times of year, there's probably traffic coming out.
Right. And I'd say there's still a handful of roads like that on here that will probably justify being taken off. We've tried to comb through them the best we could up to this point. But like I say, we still need a final review on them.
I've had calls on this one between 20th and 21st, and Contour, the farmers that are on that. If there's same landowner on each side, can a person put it back to the landowner?
Yeah, I mean, that's a process. You know, if they're wanting, so you're wanting to get the road closed then?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
get it back to the landowner, that way they can gate it off if they want to.
That would have, you'd have to start by having everybody on board with property on that road, and then it would have to go through the public hearing.
If it's the same landowner on both sides of that road, giving the road back to the landowner, as long as it's the same landowner on each side of the road. That way you don't have to split it. That way you could gate it, the landowner could go in and treat it himself.
Right.
And gate it. That way nobody can go in there and tear stuff up.
Right.
And I think that was the talk here on this one between 21st and 20th. The landowner had people going out there and tearing up the road, and,
It didn't access anything down at the end either then, Jesse? I see.
So here'd be an example of that, a picture on the right. This is like 20th Lane and Blackbird. The road goes to the east there. There's an open road, and then this was the picture on the right where the gate is. That was an old road that is no longer open. Well, that landowner owns both sides of the road there, so he went in and then put a gate up there.
but that's not legal.
That's not a road. That's not an open road there.
Oh, that's not a minimum maintenance road?
No,
Oh, it's just a driveway.
that's just a driveway. But, yeah.
Oh, okay, so.
In your area here, Steve, everything down here is good. From there south, everything's good.
Okay, except for this one here, because this is one you got a question on.
Yes, yes. See, the rivers came out, the rivers almost came out to that road. Right. And they moved the road. The road's not straight now, it's straight. But this is the road you're talking about, is for the public traffic.
So this last handout, this would just be an example. This is actually an example of a resolution for the southwest quadrant, which is around Gridley area. So in that area, there's only six roads in question there. So this is pretty much what our resolution would look like. This has the legal descriptions.
So on this one at Fifth Road and Blackbird, the ones marked going to the east there, what's that blue line to?
So that's, that purple line or blue line, that's one that's already signed minimum maintenance by resolution. So that one's done, but then you have the road that goes off to the east there, that number 8 it looks like.
Yeah.
That one is not.
It doesn't, it goes up. It's a dead end.
Yeah, right.
Well, what about on the other side of that creek?
I'd say there's not a road there.
It's showing there's one there, isn't it?
And there's a-
58 highway and it curves north.
Detention dam in there.
Oh,
Right
okay,
in the middle of
okay.
that.
That's the pickup detention dam, isn't it?
Blacktop turns north off into the pond?
No, that's not it.
That's up north of there.
That's where, when the blacktop turns north, there's a pretty good sized reservoir there. I think he's just got in, don't you, Wade?
Part of it was on Orville Schmidt.
Okay.
Like where that road is on the west side, but I don't know whether that was laying on,
I'm not real sure either.
David Kraft and, Johnny Freeman on the ground right in there.
I think you did.
I'm not sure.
I'm not too sure it ain't correct.
So, I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell, guys. Really, the next step is just, you know, I'd really like your guys' help on, you know, whether it's getting with me and we can just drive through them roads so you have a clear idea in your districts what we're looking at doing. And I think it'll help answer some questions that way too.
Yeah. Well, I'm familiar with most of these out here, you know, southwest of Burlington. I'm not with all of them up there, you know, east of Ottumwa. I've been there north of New Strong and same way. Some of these down here by Leroy, I'm not familiar with all of those either.
Right.
In, 21, it's got a green line there. Is that something that's got the signage but no resolution?
Correct.
All of them, right, Leroy's good.
These are.
These are all good. They need to be done.
You're saying that they need to be.
The ones over the west side of Leroy?
Okay.
Yeah, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Those are all good minimum maintenance.
Okay. I'm just not familiar with them, Don.
Yeah. Most of them's even more dirt than it is gravel.
Is that
Right.
Yeah.
That's the case
Even
with the
there's public
majority of these
grain,
roads.
public grain coming up 16, 17, 12, 13. It's,
Right.
and then number 7 and 11 there, that's a field, those are the roads right there west of the river bridge. It goes north a half mile and then a half mile back west.
Yeah.
And that's dirt, more dirt than it is gravel.
But that goes back to those fields, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even
And then
realize
number
that was
10
a
there,
public road.
number 10 goes, that's where the Whitehead place used to be. Remember Whitehead out of Griffith?
Yeah.
And that road, number 10, goes all the way back to the river there. So those are well marked.
I will have to look at that 18, 17, 15, 16, 14, 15, 14 through
Yeah, so
18.
you get down there around
And 19.
the core. I mean, there's a lot of roads that just dead end at the river or,
Yeah. Where they took the bridges out, where
Yes.
the lake went in and stuff,
Yep.
where bridges and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only one I need to look at is number 1. I'm not familiar with that, so it won't take long to look at it.
My district's from Kennebec to Houstonic, that's about it.
yeah.
Second Street to Country Club Heights.
We can try to find you a couple of alleys if you want.
I bet the city appreciates it. It's hard being commissioner in District 1 because it's basically in the city, so I
Right.
mean, it's really, and the city runs the city, so there's,
Right.
when the city comes to you with some help, there's really not much you
Right.
can do.
Well, that one in Don's, is that the training center?
That would be it would be the road that's, to the east of there.
Oh, okay. Okay,
It dead ends down there. in
Yeah, it
the
does.
lake.
but there's,
It's one east of the training center.
Either
It'd be the next mile, it'd be the next mile down and south, so that would go down to, but that's pretty good. There's a house on the hill there.
Right, so there's 3 houses down through there, and once you get to the last house, so, I mean.
You're talking about from the last house on
Yeah,
south.
right,
And so, but there's farm ground all the way down through there.
right. So basically, the gravel ends at that last house, and
Okay.
then it turns into dirt.
Right.
So, in the legal descriptions, I know on the map, it's kind of, we don't just have that little teeny tiny stretch, we got the
Right.
road on there. And so on the legal description, it would state that it starts, say, just past that house driveway is where the minimum maintenance starts,
Okay.
going south to the trees or the end of the road.
Is that number 6 up there on Native, is that low water crossing?
No. That's, north of the vet clinic, 2 miles.
Uh-huh.
Where the interstate is, and there's an old road that runs off to the east, curves and then dead ends.
So there's a bridge that goes over the interstate there?
Yeah, there's an overpass there. Yep. Yeah, then that 349th road, top left of the screen, that brings you out. If you take that 2 miles west, it brings you out of Niles,
Oh, okay.
28 in lengths.
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, gotcha. Yep.
Would have been the Combs Farm south of there, a half mile.
I think they were from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to take that, print it off, and do it real quick? I want your entire PowerPoint.
So I mean, we can, I've got books here for each of them with the roads of their districts that I have right now.
Oh, I need this map.
Huh?
That's pretty thorough.
Yeah, we're gonna get that book.
Okay.
You get a binder.
Oh, thanks a lot. Another binder.
That's pretty thorough.
All of them from 12th Road South is good stuff. You know, we've talked about this up there on the Osage County line, where the road goes up in Osage, you go down through that creek bottom.
Yep.
Where there's quite a bit of water. Is there any way that needs to be made a minimum maintenance road? One of these days, somebody's gonna drive in some water there and it won't be good.
Well, I mean, so,
Where's that at?
it should be posted, low water crossing there. So, I mean, if it's posted low water crossing, and that's, I mean, it's signed,
Okay.
that somebody would have to drive in some water there. I
That's
mean,
right,
it's-
it's
it's
signed.
signed.
So the board went up there about 5 or 6 years ago and observed that,
Yeah.
but we never did take any action on it, so.
Yeah,
We wanted to put a bridge in there at one time.
yeah,
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit.
That'd be quite an on.
that would be a very big on thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, well, like I said, if you wanna get together with me sometime and drive through them roads, or however you wanna do that, I'm more than willing, to do that and get the process started and keep rolling with it.
No. I'm sorry, you say from 12.
Yeah.
Good job putting that on together.
Oh, Cindy did it, as far as, I mean, the maps and stuff like that, she put a lot of hours into this, and she did a really nice job.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah, it's not.
She did, you guys did a nice job.
They're on section 9, which is southwest of Leroy, a mile and a half, that's where I'm at. You know, they grade to our mailboxes, but don't go any further west, maybe once a year. There's a lot of grain comes out of there, and a lot of hay comes out of there. I don't know whether it needs to be marked minimum maintenance or not.
You're talking
I have no problem.
west of your house, Don?
Well, it'll be south of the house. It's the south side of section 9 there. The west side, south side of section 9, the west half.
So you're saying it's not on the map and possibly
No, it's not on the map.
should be?
Maybe, they don't grade that but once a year, and I wouldn't say they didn't twice, but it's not much and there's no need to.
Yeah.
But right now, the paths have been beaten down enough that they're 3 or 4 inches lower than
Right.
what the middle is now,
Right.
but
Well, it's, I mean, that's
You might
something
wanna
that can
take
be
a look.
looked at to,
you might wanna take a look at making them that, even though there's a lot of grain coming out of there,
Yeah.
you know, it's only when the road is pretty dry,
right.
so I don't care, you might wanna take a look at it.
Yeah, and that's fine, and if you guys come up with roads, kinda how we identify these, we got with our blade guys, for starters, and we said, you know, here's,
Just turn around at our mailbox.
get us a list of roads that, and then we would just kinda went through and started double checking Google Earth and finding a few more that way, and there's probably there's gonna be a small handful of roads that we haven't identified or just slipped through the cracks, I mean, so, if you guys come up with something that you know that's not on the map, you know, question why it's not, you know, we can definitely look at it and answer it.
Homework.
Yep.
It's only one day a week, and it's a half a day, right? Negative. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tell Sydney good work.
All right, I will.
All right,
Yeah, have a good day.
thanks.
You too, take care. That concludes our agenda. Now we're to roundtable. Mr. Wade, drum roll.
So, I guess the first one we can talk about is under Resolution 900, the sale and disposition of the property for SSM. And in essence, right now, the stuff that needs to be taken today, if possible, is to put something together that will go to the paper, that will provide public notice and an opportunity to be heard if somebody wants to come in and make any statements or comments related to that property. So if you recall with Sunset Manor, there was public notice that was set for 30 days down the road, and then that day came, and I don't recall anybody being here other than those tied to or affiliated with the hospital. There may have been one or two people from the Waverly area, if I remember right, but I can't recall.
I think it was one, I don't think it was any room.
But
I think they were just here to
Yes.
observe.
right,
Yeah, observation.
Yeah.
right. So that's what needs to happen in this instance too. So if you recall in the resolution, you get the option on how to dispose of property. So quoting from Resolution 900, surplus real property may be disposed of as follows. Disposal of real property shall be effected in a manner determined by a majority vote of the Board of County Commissioners to be most beneficial to the county. It actually doesn't have to be a majority vote. It can be 4 out of 5, but it sure sounds better when it's a majority vote. These methods include but are not limited to auction, trade-in, negotiated sale, sealed bid, fixed price, negotiated bid, or any other method of sale deemed most beneficial to the county. So, I think if you look back, the other one was done sealed bid, and this one, I think the consensus is, as of last week, was with the 4,000 per acre. So that's a fixed price, and then going through the analysis of disposal of property that provides benefit to the county, protects the public interest, attempts to maximize on the return of such property. I have something somewhat put together that covers everything. I have it on here, but I can't print from here, which is, I'll have to deal with that, but I can print that, and then at the back end of roundtable, we can bring it back up. But in essence, the board has determined the sale and disposal of the property will provide a significant benefit to the county, will protect the public interest and attempt to maximize a long-term economic return related to the sale and disposition of the property, the immediate surrounding areas in the state of Kansas overall. And that seems to be sort of the focus of that part of the project. The board has determined it's in the best interest of the county to sell said property for a fixed price of $4,000 per acre to secure semiconductor manufacturing. SSM of Hazard, Kentucky as the method of sale most beneficial to the county. And then it talks about the public hearing will be held at 10 a.m. on September 18th, 25th. I think you want to get it set as soon as possible. So
Yeah.
it needs to have time to be
They're gonna
published.
start digging dirt.
Yeah, they kind of know.
Do you have an idea what day?
Well, we probably need to know when they wanna close on it, don't we?
All this does is clear the way under the resolution
okay.
to sell it and to provide people the opportunity to.
Okay. Well, I don't know why we couldn't do it. It's gotta be published for a week,
Yeah.
so it'd probably be the 18th, then, wouldn't it?
The 11th would not be a week.
11th would be a week.
I'd have to get it in this week's paper.
Yeah, I won't get it in this week's paper.
And then we can put it on the county website too.
Yeah.
Right.
Which would be the other way to do it. So I will, when we come back, I'll print this, you can take a look at it. It has the specific details about disposition of the following described certain real property at or in the vicinity of 19th Road Northwest and US Highway 75, north of the Coffee County Airport. And then it goes through the legal description that was also included in a previous legal description. But generally, from what I've heard during conversations and just being here as a part of that whole SSM discussion, this seems to be in line with what you're wanting to see happen.
Agreed.
Sounds good.
So I'll have that printed and to show to you, and then if you approve it, then it'll need to be a motion approving it so it can be sent to the paper for publication.
Okay.
Number two, there's still myself, the sheriff, River City, Goldberg, Commissioner Huguenin, trying to remember who else has been a part of just ongoing discussions regarding the jail project, just so you're aware it's not sitting idle and lingering. There are some modifications or revisions that are being put in place to try to deal with the price tag that goes with it. Commissioner Huguenin, Tom can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've expressed my frustration pretty clearly in some of what's happening. I don't. We're going to get there, but there has to be some revisions made to what was originally presented to get in the ballpark. Is that a fair way of saying that?
Yep, fair way of saying it. I know Sheriff Johnson's pretty adamant on where he'd like to see it be budgetary wise to try and cover change orders that probably are gonna come down the pike. I commend him for standing his ground on this. Wade as well, so.
And on the court side, they're also working with Goldberg on the most beneficial and fiscally responsible update and revision to the court side as well. So, a lot of moving parts, but I think here in the next several weeks, they'll be coming back before you to present whatever the next phase is. But they can't put their final plans together until they have an idea what those revisions will be.
We're supposed to see the final plans 100% as of the 7th of September, so I'm sure HC will go another 3, 4, 5 weeks past that.
They probably will.
It will.
You say the 7th, that's this week?
7th, yeah, the 7th's what's on our plan, final 100%.
I would say
That 90% set is, in my opinion, only useless with the proposed cuts that Sheriff laid out to get within the budget he'd like to see.
Yeah, the 90% is supposed to be in front of us on August 10th.
So the 90%, Don, is done, but it's not in a position where it can be presented and then have the board make decisions based off of it, because there are unfortunately revisions that have to be made before it's a final product. But your 90% is right under that Tom's binder right there.
Yeah. But again, with the cuts that Sheriff, and I again commend the Sheriff, I sat in that meeting last week and it's the overall layout of the cells and offices and this and that and the other. He's been very, very, very thorough on what he sees that he can do, live without, or can't live without. I mean, he's spent a lot of time on it. A lot of time.
He has his plans, sticky notes all throughout, and tabbed and highlighted internally with things that he's making a request to change that will cut costs and save money.
Yeah.
So, you feel the cost of construction is actually this much different that justifies the need for all these changes? I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but I don't want to just fill their pockets. I don't know how else to say it.
Well, I'm not involved in projects like this all the time. Smaller, yes, but
Right.
nothing of this caliber as far as the building goes. But I do know some firms are having trouble meeting what they estimate the cost to be and what the actual bid comes in at.
Okay.
They did say that Osage County did come in, the bids did come in lower than anticipated, so. Which is hopeful.
So it's not just us, I mean, even, I guess that answers my question.
And it's everywhere, but,
Yeah.
frustration lies in, it started out this, and it was that, and now it's this, and so everybody's getting a little
Well,
flustered, rightfully so.
for myself, I made the changes, and went to going without the basement, which I didn't have any objection to that. We were all hoping that was gonna be a big savings, which apparently it was, but, just like to get our money's worth, that's all.
Well, and nobody knows better what the sheriff needs as far as his cells, his layout, that part of it, so. Like I Okay, he's been very thorough, spent a lot of time on it.
And I commend him for that too, but I hate to see him having to make those concessions, is my point, you know.
Me too. Jump on in there, buddy.
The whole reason for this project is a new jail, so it's frustrating and disappointing to see that the sheriff is having to cut and make changes to what is a jail project. The overall underlying reason for this project is a new jail. And a jail not only that will last for the next few years, but into the future. It's a 30 to 40 year project.
Right,
So that's, I share in your frustration because although there will be a new county attorney's office, you could put me in an RV camper and I'll make it work, because ultimately that's not the goal of what's happening.
Yeah.
And I've made that frustration, for lack of better wording, crystal clear throughout our discussions. And I don't like saying too much without people here to be able to respond on the other side, because I don't think that's fair either. But we are having those spirited discussions, and you know, some of it is out of our control because of just what's happening with the economy. But you know, I think we're going to continue on with those discussions and try to have a final product ready to present so you can make a decision as a board.
Glad you're in them discussions. And I'm glad Tom's in those discussions.
Yeah, I appreciate it very much.
And they know, and it's been stated numerous times, $30 million is the cap. It doesn't go over that, no matter what. So.
When we had February of last year, 2022, February 8th, an estimated cost of $495 a square foot. Now we're at $775.
Almost double in.
And we cut the basement out. This had the basement in it.
Yeah, that's got the basement in it.
Less than a year and a half,
Yes.
or at a year and a half. So,
I'm glad it's you two there in the conversations, because it wouldn't be me for very long. You know, say, I'm glad to have both of them in the conversations.
Yes, very good
but,
stuff.
I think the people that need to be there are there.
So the buck stops here, though. So although
Yes. That's right.
spirited discussion can occur with the people who are participating, and mainly the main one is the sheriff, because the sheriff needs to know what the design looks like so he can make appropriate decisions. And if he has to modify his train of thought to make something work or adapt, then that needs to occur at that phase. But when it comes down to making decisions on the financial end, that will be this room in front of the camera so that everybody can see how that plays out. We're just so it's out there, just because I'm in that conversation and Tom's in that conversation, we have nothing to do with the dollars and cents.
Right.
We're just looking. I know you guys know, but I want it to be made clear for those who are watching. We're not making financial decisions for anything. We are a part of the conversation, and we're looking at the overall design. But the main person having that conversation is the sheriff.
Right.
Is Goldberg showing any frustrations on trying to reach the ultimate goal? Where's his position, or what's his attitude on this thing? 'Cause he's made some pretty strong statements the last 4 or 5 months.
I understand that, and in all fairness to Larry Goldberg, I think your question would need to be directed at Larry Goldberg so he can answer your question. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's fair for any of us to comment when he's not sitting.
I understand.
Right.
In what I understand from Larry and what I've seen in Larry, I'd say he probably is pretty frustrated, but, yeah, it's an unfair question to you, Lee. And I haven't talked to Larry on the phone for several months. Haven't needed to.
Well, we can sit here and beat this horse until it's.
Yep.
I just wanted to provide an update.
Yep.
I need to now request a 15-minute executive session. It's under the attorney-client exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, and it's provide legal advice related to county zoning issues.
I will move.
I'll second.
15 minutes. We will enter, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We will enter at 11:20 for 15 minutes.
I think we're going back in, same people, same topic, 10, 15, what do you?
15.
15?
For longer.
I think.
I'll still move.
Been moved by Meats. I'll second. Seconded by McCreary. Same topic, same people. We will enter at 11:40 for 15 minutes. It's 11:37.
How you doing, sir? Good.
I gave you a little more splash of tea.
I swear. Like that was all about. I don't remember doing.
So is it my understanding, based on our last series of executive sessions, that there is anticipated action will be taken? Is that a fair statement?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I'm for it.
So I guess we'll put a hold on that while I put something together, and then we can come back after you guys finish going through the roundtable. I also want to bring up caption, notice of public hearing related to the sale and disposition of surplus county property, the opportunity for public comment, and notice of method of sale. That's related to the SSM property that I discussed earlier. I'll print this, copy it both sides. I thought I printed enough copies, but that's something you're still wanting to address today.
Well, we're about gonna have to get it in the newspaper next week and do it on Monday, the 18th.
Yep. September 18th at 10 o'clock. You could also do it the 25th, couldn't you?
Well, you could.
Depends on how much time is of the essence to do this, if you're gonna be breaking ground or.
I mean, I don't think they're probably, I don't think they ever, did they state when they were gonna start?
Well, this by the end of the month.
It'd be the end of the month.
Yeah.
We're not gonna have to do it, about gotta do it the 18th, because if you do you could maybe even do a closing the 25th. When will the road be started? The road work?
That'd probably be one of the first.
That's gonna be one of the first things.
Well,
If it doesn't rain, they don't have to worry about it.
That's rain a lot to make that issue.
So I guess my question, do we wanna break for lunch and turn around and come back at 1 o'clock and finish roundtable? And sign what checks is here and take care of that stuff? That's my question to the board, I guess.
Thanks to their committee,
That would give Wade some time to do what he needed to do.
Yeah, that'd be beneficial.
Yep. Take me
whatever
15
works
minutes.
out the best.
We'll break for lunch, come back at 1 o'clock.
okay.
At 12 o'clock, yep, at the whistle.
I can't say I got whistle there.
Go down and support.
People, everybody switching from gas to the lithiums.
Yeah. They're expensive, but there's your rubber band. All right, we're back. Steve, do you have any roundtable today?
I don't.
You don't?
Nope.
Don, do you have any roundtable?
I'm in good shape right now, Jesse.
Mr. Wade?
Nope.
Mr. Tom?
Other than, when Wade brought it up, we met with Goldberg and crew last week, and Sheriff gave some ideas, some cuts he's willing to do, and we're meeting with him again today at 3. I don't know if Wade has something else, did he?
Yeah, he's got more stuff. He's just not back yet. I was just gonna do roundtable. And here he comes. Just like Beetlejuice. Say his name 3 times and he shows up.
Yeah, he bring in more than he brought in from this morning. I don't know about that. But
So am I on the?
You're up. We've made it to me on roundtable, so we're back to you now.
Okay.
Just playing ping pong. I'll let you explain this.
You don't want to read through that?
No, sir. I do not.
Did you get that first?
Yeah, I thought we did one in.
I sent it, I emailed it to you. Or I mean, yeah, do you want me to print it off?
Was that the same? I think that was at the back end. This would have been when all the hospital, it would have been directly after Resolution 900 was enacted, or right in that same time period, if I remember it.
This is back on the 900. I thought this was the other thing we was talking about earlier.
Oh, no, so what I just handed you was the notice a public hearing related to the sale and disposition of surplus county property, opportunity for public comment, and notice of method of sale. Basically, this is what would be published in the paper and put on the county website related to the tract of land by the airport. So you'll see the legal description, you'll see the fixed price,
Here it is.
who is who it would be sold to, that there would be a public hearing held 10 o'clock Monday, September 18th. That will give the public the opportunity to make any comments that they want to make, if any. And then from that point forward, you have the opportunity to make a decision moving forward. So, I think as Jesse would probably normally say, it's a lot of words to say.
We're selling property.
They got this all down to 8 acres, so it closed out, I was thinking it's 8.9 when they started.
So I got it on the tablet there, wait, if you want to look at it.
Did you find what I was?
I did.
Want to delete the bottom?
Was I right? Remembering?
Well, I put that one on there too. Yeah, it was right by the resolution number 900, yes. And I have both of them on there just so you could look at them. I could take off whatever.
Oh, you did.
Not put something together, just to match it up.
So this one would replace,
So I'd take the first part of what you have.
New Strong, is it New Strong?
we're in the vicinity, would it be New Strine or Burlington?
I just use within the vicinity of 19th, what's on there, because it's your last part where you have it twice. I just take out the back part of what you're typing now,
Okay.
where it says, take it to be published 2 times.
Should be
Public
more.
hearing. Well, we can leave it 2.
Okay.
No, we'll only have.
That's one.
Yep.
So notices to be published at least once.
In the county newspaper, public hearing scheduled Monday, September 18th, 10 a.m.
what time? At 10
I
a.m.?
I have it at 10 o'clock, but,
Okay, and also authorize the board of trustees or anything, or no?
no. And then at the very top, approve notice of public hearing for the anticipated sale and disposition of see what I'm talking about.
Say that again, move to approve the notice. Okay.
I'd say for the, no, you can take that part out since you added it lower, so move to approve the notice for public hearing, or public hearing for the anticipated sale and disposition. And I think the rest of it we have.
Right?
Yep, and then at the very bottom,
Take out the broker realistic.
from Chambers, period. Yep. And then said notice is to be published at least once within the county newspaper and posted on the county webpage. So that should cover it.
Okay.
Alright, here we go. Motion to approve the notice for public hearing for the anticipated sale and disposition of property in the vicinity of 19th Road Northwest and US 75 Highway and north of Coffee County Airport for a fixed price of $4,000 per acre to Secure Semiconductor Manufacturing LLC, provide for the opportunity of public comment and provide for the method of sale. Said notice to be published at least once within the county newspaper and posted on the county webpage, with a public hearing to be scheduled on Monday, September 18th at 10 a.m. in the Coffee County Commission Chambers.
We need to have the acres in there, so they know what the total. 8 acres would be 32,000. And I don't know, I'm just asking.
It'll be in the,
Okay.
it'll be in this notice. Where I pulled the property description from was in the paperwork that's already been provided.
You moved.
I moved, yes.
I'll second.
Meat seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
And I gave that to you, didn't I? We can just get that from Mark.
Yeah. Okay. And this has to be on the county website. Are you putting it on there? Do you want me to put it on there? Or?
I don't have
Access.
the ability to put it on there, I think. Either you or Amber or somebody.
Rhonda, the
Or Rhonda.
other one.
Next item up for discussion.
Next item up for business.
This is a proposed resolution. I don't even have a resolution number. Somewhere after 8.
Maybe 9/11.
So,
Well,
9/11?
I don't think we've done 8 or 9 or 10.
We haven't done a 9-10. I was gonna do that one that Joe sent, but since we're not doing that today, we could use that one, 9-10.
Okay.
Good, how are you?
So this is in line with, before lunch, there were a couple executive sessions that dealt with discussion regarding legal issues concerning zoning. After that discussion, this potential resolution was put together. And the discussion relates to, this is, I guess, a proposed resolution providing for a temporary prohibition of commercial solar farms in Coffee County, Kansas. This is in line with what several other counties have done. The most recent, to my knowledge, is Anderson County. Anderson County put a similar prohibition in place for a calendar year. Prior to that, my understanding is Lynn County did the same thing. They did that for 6 months last October. This is not to say that commercial solar farms within Coffee County won't ever be something that can occur. It's to allow zoning to catch up to commercial solar farms. My understanding is it's a hot button issue, not just in this area, but across the state, maybe even across the country. But this will allow zoning to look at it and to not have to force zoning, the Planning and Zoning Commission for Coffee County to make haphazard decisions without really studying it and then getting zoning amendments before this board to make final decisions. As this board is also aware, the Planning and Zoning Committee, with this board's approval, are in the process of securing a consultant to aid and assist on the zoning side, provide substantive comments, direction, advice relating to county planning and zoning for Coffee County, as well as, and maybe more importantly, to help secure, I guess, retain a firm or a company or a person to develop a comprehensive plan for the county. And that may be the more important component. The comprehensive plan is something that will take a period of time. There will be considerable expense associated with that, I'm almost certain. But that is in the process behind the scenes with planning and zoning. And if you recall, Heidi Harris, the zoning administrator, as well as Nathan Schroeder, were here several weeks ago asking for permission to move forward with that. And the board said to move forward with it. It needs to be done. So the initial step is the consultant. The consultant will be identified, hopefully brought on board with the board's permission, and then there will be RFPs that will go out related to the comprehensive plan, and then hopefully someone brought on board or a firm brought on board to help aid and assist with that. So this is just one maybe sub-layer of that, so that things don't happen too fast. Now, I'm sure there will be some issues that get brought up, and as it relates to this resolution, if you decide to move forward with it, it's only being brought forth so things can not go from 0 to 60 without having the time and opportunity to allow zoning to catch up.
Good enough explanation.
If there's already been, I don't know, if there's already been land acquired from an entity, I mean, it probably doesn't have anything to do, what's that going to do
it would pump the brakes on that for at least 1 year, I would think, until zoning could get, up to speed possibly, or there might actually be some issues.
We'll,
Or will it?
we'll have to,
I'm just asking, I mean, if there's already been some, if there's already been some wheels in motion, I'm not sure what I'm trying to.
I think Wade mentioned this morning, if I remember right, if those are in place,
well,
have to
with-
navigate through that.
Yeah, we'll have to take those issues as they come up. Right now, this is just to get something in place to address the potential for these solar farms to be put in place. And if there's something that's already in place that has occurred, then I guess we'll have to address it as it comes. So one of the key features of this resolution, and as I mentioned, it's not saying that it's prohibited from happening altogether, and I want that to be clear. It's sort of pumping the brakes, as someone said, to allow the zoning to catch up. But within the resolution, it mentions that it's for a period of 1 year from and after the passage of this resolution or until the Planning and Zoning Commission adopts amendments to the zoning regulations of Coffee County which regulate solar farms within the boundaries of Coffee County, whichever occurs first. So if within 6 months something's in place, then the year is out the window. I just want that to be clear. But it is something that.
So do I understand this is gonna be, zoning would come back with a recommendation to us and the final decision will be ours? What we do?
Yes, any amendments to what happens with planning and zoning has to be approved by the governing body.
That was my understanding, I just wanted to clarify
Yes.
that for everybody else too.
And it's one of those things where the backside of that, Wade, is on the outside, people know that planning and zoning meet once a month. So how quickly are you gonna get things done if it's something that needs to be done? Well, my impression is from sitting and being a part of those meetings here, especially recently, is they will, if the need arises, set special meetings or set additional meetings so they can address what needs to be taken care of on a timely basis. And that's my impression. So it's not going to be a month-to-month thing unless, but it'll be more than once a month if they feel the necessity to have meetings more than once a month.
Kind of just like us, if we feel there's need for more than one meeting a week, which I see that in the near future, probably what we'll have to do to make it work, right?
That's probably gonna happen.
Probably happen sooner than later. Okay, motion's on the computer. Motion to approve resolution number 910, a resolution providing for a temporary prohibition of commercial solar farms in Coffee County, Kansas. I will move.
I'll second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by Meats. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 I'm abstaining from that vote,
One abstain.
because I have property involved in the project.
What do you say, kid? Law enforcement say not be
Do you have the original or just, I put 910 at the top of this one?
Put on your line, you use that one.
Okay. I haven't colored on it yet.
Okay.
sign it since I abstained?
Where you abstained, no.
Okay, I just wanna make sure it passed, so. you know.
Is that it for you, Wade, on roundtable, or is there more?
I think for today, that will cover what needs to be covered. Unless you have.
Just other than my text message in lunchtime? I figured that would be an executive session, if anything. But, like, wait till next week to, if you feel there's any need to do anything.
I think that situation is a little more fluid right now than I even know what to say.
Okay.
I need more information.
Okay. Angie, do you have any roundtable?
The only thing is next Monday is the employee appreciation picnic, so I don't know how much you have on the agenda. Let me look here, I don't think I have much.
Well, we know we'll have that 10 o'clock public hearing. Oh, that's the 18th, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, you don't have much, so I may block you off to maybe go down and help to get ready because several department heads are gonna be gone, and so since you guys are the main ones that are the,
You're gonna put us to work, aren't you?
yeah, this
Yeah,
time
I'm
you will probably have to.
I'm kidding.
Hopefully not cooking.
I think Road and Bridge is gonna be cooking, but you guys will probably wanna help serve.
No, they wouldn't.
I think last year we lugged stuff out of the basement and up to the carts and into the vehicles, and then out of the vehicles into the building and then back again.
Where's that gonna be held
That's where it's going. I believe that's where we're doing it. So, a little bit bigger down there, so.
Yeah.
Does
Anyway.
the road and bridge set some of that up?
Well, there'll be, I don't know who's gonna set it up. I don't know if you're gonna have maintenance do that, or I don't know, but whoever's setting it up, but, Road and Bridge usually does the cooking, and then the department heads set up the plates and get everything set up for that, and then wherever the food's gonna be placed, and then drink station, and,
Do they have enough tables and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, just somebody have to set it up and tear it
Yeah.
down,
Yeah.
sweep, and I stayed down, I think it was 2:30, something like that last time when we got done, 2:45. It's pretty late in the afternoon.
I'll have that.
That's all you got?
That's it.
Back on the Bailey property. Met with SSM Thursday, went through the property, shed, garage, whatever you wanna call it, and living quarters in that garage, and the house, and everything else. All of the members of SSM was present. Really didn't do a whole lot of discussing, but Bart did say that he should have something drawn up within the next week or so, which would be later this week, which being a holiday weekend, I really think it'd be next week sometime. But after that, I had a water leak on the heater for the swimming pool, and I tried to call Garnett, Town and Country Pool and Spas. They didn't answer, they didn't return calls for a couple of days, so I called a guy out of Emporia, Jack's Pool and Spa. He come out Friday morning, the heater for the swimming pool, it's got like a hot water heater. It's got a tank in the bottom of it. And the tank is rusted out. And so it's pushing water up through the exhaust of the heater. So it is leaking. I don't know if it is going to rupture. If it ruptures, the pump will pump the water out of the pool, and then you run the pump. So I got an estimate from him. Like I said, I can't get a hold of Town and Country, but I got an estimate for $54.95 installed, no tax, because the tax county is non-taxable. Is that correct?
Correct.
So $54.95 installed. We can go in and bypass that. Unfortunately, right now, the pump pumps through that heat exchanger and then circulates back into the pool. So a person could go in and cut the PVC pipe, reroute the water out of the pump back into the swimming pool instead of going through the heater.
But does the heater, is that
The heater's for the winter time.
for the winter
Yeah.
time? So if we don't do that, then we're going to have to drain.
We're gonna have to pull the pool completely down and clean the whole system out and dry it and everything else.
Can't just temporarily shut it down for 2 or 3 days?
I could probably shut.
If you knew it was gonna get kicked. there would be
Yeah,
enough-
I've been monitoring the leaking. I check it like twice a day, and so to make sure it's not pushing more water out. It's a slow leak right now.
I would think the algae would build up, and if the chlorine's high enough, it would make it build up until we're down. It'd be an issue, but we used to have one when kids was young, but
Yeah.
they've been around one for a long time.
I mean, I can shut the pump off, that's not a problem, but like I said, I've just been monitoring it because it does run through a big filter system. And so,
I'd cut the pressure off of it, so it probably might not leak hardly at all.
it won't leak any at all if I shut the pump off, so. I don't know if I'm a fan for getting rid of the heater. I don't know anything about pools, but that's the first thing I ever said, was I know nothing about pools. So, once you drain something, seals dry up, and you wind up having more problems after it's drained and dried.
Yeah, they're gonna have to hire somebody to do that, and then
You have to hire somebody to winterize it, and then you gotta hire somebody to bring it back up.
Bring it back up for spring.
And then you got your pump could leak, so on. So I've got him on standby. I can't get any other prices. So that's where we're at.
Unfortunate, but sounds like for them to understand it's kind of an emergency and sole source at the moment. If they would just proceed,
I would too.
It's just the joys of
That's just,
ownership.
that's just
all
part of
it
the
is.
maintenance
I mean,
part, and I hate to see us do away with that heater pump.
I think we need to fix it and maintain it to its present
Yeah.
condition, rather than
Cut it up.
offering,
Cut it up, yeah, because sure as you do that, we're gonna have more problems down the road.
I'm sure.
Is that
Something like,
heat ready as that?
yeah. Yeah, and I would probably wind up just shutting the pump off for now, and that way we don't wind up doing any more damage to the system.
Right.
But
If that could
Does
be
he have
done,
one?
if
Excuse
that
me.
could be done, I think it'd be the best.
I think probably, I don't know if we'd have it done this week, but it's definitely by the end of next week.
Available?
Yeah, it is
The
available.
parts
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a new enough system that the parts are available, so
Okay.
he's just waiting on the text message to go and he'll get on it, so. But,
Thanks for your efforts.
one thing after another,
It's a job.
I hate to, well, he just did text me back.
Seems like there's one more issue than what we figured it would be.
Well, that's kinda like owning a boat, break out another 1,000.
That's no life.
2.5 days, on the
That's
best,
no
the day you
lie.
bought it, the day you sold it.
That's right. Yeah, he basically just said the same thing, 'cause I called him over lunch and said, what do we do for the winter time? And,
Well, it's a nice property. I just don't feel like it's probably the thing to do to take away from integrity of it.
That's what I'm
Spend
trying.
money.
We don't need a vote on this or nothing, just get the heater going.
It's in the stock tank on my patio.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, they're talking $400, come out and cut the lines and reroute it around the heater. Then if you put the heater in, you're gonna have to redo that again.
Yeah.
So, right there, you're,
Save 10% of it.
yeah,
Not
exactly.
getting value out of it.
Yeah, nothing but cost.
Yeah, cobbling up.
Plus mileage, yeah, 400 for the labor plus mileage to do that. And then you're gonna have to redo it once you go to put a heater back into it, so. If the general consensus is, go for it, I'll tell them to go for it.
Yes.
Replace the heater.
I think you're getting a nod from everybody.
I would like to maybe do a little plumbing work there and be able to shut that off and make a bypass.
That'd be a
We
good
could do
i-
that.
That'd be a good idea.
We could put a ball valve here where it goes into the heater. We could put a ball valve here and then in between, before the ball valve, you could run another pipe across and tee into
And
the
that way
other
it's
line. And you could put a ball valve over
That you
here.
could open.
So then you could just shut that heater off.
Yeah.
I mean, that might cost a little extra, but it'd prevent, you could drain that out and not have water
Yeah,
flowing
but
to
you
it.
would
For
think-
$3 or $4, probably money well spent.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it'd be money well spent,
Yeah.
if they could do that. Well, I know they
Wade
could do
gives
that.
you an option.
Yeah.
There's room there to do it.
You don't even need it. And water runs through it consistently, even when you're not using the heater. It is plumbed to go through that heater all the time.
And maybe that's good. that it's-
And it might be good.
You might just
But
find
it's
out
still-
there'd be a downside to that, Jess,
Right.
but otherwise,
Yeah, I ask them, I guess.
Yeah, they're the cool people, not me.
Yeah,
That way you could at least shut it off and it's still running.
yeah.
You can still circulate your water and limit the risk of pumping the ball to full dry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all that in though. I think that is the only thing, in my eyes, if a person sell that as soon as possible, sell it as soon as possible. But just my 2 cents worth. I mean, I don't wanna kick it out from under SSM by no means. You know,
No,
I will visit with them and
I think we'd like to move forward ASAP though. You know, surely.
get it sold, get it on tax roll, get it in somebody else's hair instead of ours.
Right.
Main thing is, if somebody buys that, they have to visualize what's gonna be in their backyard.
I did visit with the ladies of SSM, and they was questioning the property that went with the home. And I said, it's the immediate low mode area. Well, right now, because everything's been hayed, but you can see, and I told them, I said, it's basically down the road, around this building, almost to the lagoon, and back, and around that pond, back up the road. They kind of turned their noses about that, and they was like, well, what about the pond? And I said, well, I said, initially, the county thought they wanted the pond for whatever reason. I said, but if it could probably be discussed to sell, to move the acreage out past the pond and then back up to the 50 highway.
That's provided it's not needed.
I just, not needed for the project. I just know if I were to buy that property, that lake would be,
That's
that
that's
lake.
what you'd want, but
Yeah, it would. That, I think that takes away from,
It does.
from what it's worth.
It does. And if you're in that pool, I've witnessed this, you can look out, it looks like a continuous pool, because you can see the pond water, you know, so it is pretty,
That's pretty neat, right?
that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Pretty good engineering went into building all that.
So I told them that could probably be discussed, but I said, you've got to be in front of the board for that, because I'm not gonna say yea or nay, but possibly.
Again, if it's not needed for the project, it's gonna go on up there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have an issue. Of course,
Right.
it would be added value, so.
But yeah, they was talking about bringing beds in and dressers and stuff like that, so it sounds like it's 100% go. That's all the roundtable I think I had. Great turnout at the groundbreaking. That was very neat for the ones that showed up for it. That was nice.
It was a good day.
That was pretty impressive. You got to re-sign?
We just have a revision. We just discovered that that resolution you just passed for 910, apparently there's one that I think Wade might have put together before. I don't know how we missed getting it in our log, but we need to do this one at 911. So if we just revise that, if everyone's in agreement, and I'll just have Jesse sign because his name was on the first page, and keep the rest of your signatures as was, if that's okay.
We're just changing the number.
Yeah, just changing the number. Nothing else is changing.
Which one was 910? For some reason, I thought.
Let me. She just texted me. Let me see which one it was.
I don't remember doing a 910.
910 was the first one. Authorizing June.
They're talking back.
Yeah, we haven't even taken action.
Oh, we haven't taken, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
We haven't even taken action.
We haven't taken action, yeah.
I think that's where we got thrown off.
Yep.
You're right, we haven't.
That's why we used 910, because that wasn't that yet.
If you leave this at 910 and change that.
Okay, it was disposal of property, but they thought it was tied to Sunset Manor. Can you recall that?
That might be right. That might have been the resolution for.
Well, you had that resolution, you had that number,
I
and I
had
didn't
that
even pay any attention to it on the screen when you brought up the.
And you read it 9/11?
No, I didn't read it, I didn't pay any attention to the
Oh.
resolution number that was on it.
Oh, okay.
But you deleted it all off of our side. And now it says 910.
Hold on, let me go
This
back.
was 2023-910.
Pretty sure that's it.
It was on.
That was page one of it.
Yes. That was Sunset Man.
Did I not have it on there yet? Where the heck did it go? Oh, it's at the
You-
bottom.
You've taken it, you've taken it off.
That's why.
See, this is to the solar farm. But originally, when you had that copy and pasted on there, and it was talking about Sunset Manor, the resolution number's on it, but now you've changed that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I
Gotcha,
didn't
gotcha.
remember
Okay.
seeing what it was.
Okay, so it was gonna be 9/11.
Okay, yeah, that's.
Revised. Okay, sorry about that.
We all use.
I tell you, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
It's a Monday, Tuesday, whatever, Tuesday,
It's a
Monday.
Monday in disguise.
I was told, if you're not doing anything, you never make a mistake, just don't be too busy at it.
That's right. Right. Well, if nobody, do we have anything else to discuss? I know our to-do list is getting a little longer again.
Oh, can we talk about that real quick?
Sure.
Okay, so did we get the Goldberg generator for the new jail facility? Has that been addressed, or are we still
Still in,
in discussion?
of all of it.
Okay.
To my
And then-
knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, Wade, but yes.
I think everything's still under discussion.
Yeah, there we go.
And the next two I know are still sitting out there as to-dos, and then I guess below, all the rest of those are coming up, so next week's that meeting in Columbus.
I probably won't be.
How many are gonna go again? I forgot.
To Steiner.
No, this is to
Columbus.
Columbus for the Southeast Kansas meeting,
What day is that?
September 14th.
Thursday.
I hadn't even thought about it.
Knowing you, okay, knowing you, Tom. You,
I don't remember if I voted, if I went for that or not.
I can't remember either who told me. It's okay.
I'll have
At
to
this
let
point
you
in
know.
time, I don't believe so, but I'll know more Monday.
And I'll know more.
I think I might have put only one or two down, but it's fine even if not, so
Okay.
no worries there.
Did he have an agenda on what they're gonna be talking about at all?
she hasn't sent me anything. I can request one and forward it to you.
Normally, I don't think they even have an agenda.
Yeah, you would you get your program that morning usually. And
We
I know,
haven't received an agenda from the other.
The Wichita meeting.
Can't even find the page.
December,
yeah, that's on
Well, it's in
KAC.
December.
December.
KAC's December fifth or something.
Yeah.
Is that the meeting,
We'll be getting agendas on
is that the meeting like,
Yes.
Yeah, this, except that was commissioner only, I think.
Yeah.
This will be all
or,
departments, all elected officials and department heads. Those are the only questions I had on that. Because everything else is still coming up.
Nobody has anything else? We will adjourn at 1:44. Kill the switch. Please.
we got,
We out.